Bitcoin is close to becoming worthless.
Let's go. Now, what's the Bitcoin?
Bitcoin's like rat poison.
Yeah. Oh,
The greatest scam in history.
let's get it.
Bitcoin will go to fucking zero.
Yeah.
Alright, you ungovernable misfits. I'm your host, Max. Everybody knows that Bitcoin is useless, worthless, and doomed to fail. But what if everyone's wrong? What if it's the system that is doomed to fail? Join me as I speak to some of the brightest people in the space and slither to the deepest, darkest depths of the Bitcoin rabbit hole. Today's episode is our Bitcoin monthly update. It's with Bitcoin Q&A and Antimus, and actually I think this is our best ever effort. We recorded this morning and it's going out this evening. It's also on the 2nd, where quite often it's at the end of the month, so big pat on the back there, although we did have some technical issues. I spent the day editing, I've done my very best, and I think it's really good listening. I hope you enjoy, and if anyone has any questions or wants to have a read through, the links are in the show notes. Make sure to check out the website. A lot of work goes into this from Bitcoin Q&A and Antimus every month. It's really worth having a read through. Before we start, I want to say thank you to my show sponsors. First up is Casa. Casa make it so easy for people to have multi-sig security. I've been running this for about a year. I've had absolutely no issues, which anyone who listens to this show will know is incredibly rare. I've been using the gold plan, and if you'd like to use this, you can actually use bit by bit 10, and this will give you 10% off your purchase. I think it's incredible value for money, and although I don't keep all my sats in there, I definitely sleep sounder at night. Visit keys.casa to upgrade your security today. Next up, we have Foundation devices. The Passport is my favourite hardware wallet. I've been using this for about 2-3 months now. I got my hands on one of the first, and I've been shilling this to all my friends and family. Anyone who is getting their sats off exchange, I'm starting to see it become more commonplace as the value of Bitcoin is going up. People are starting to take this more seriously, and there really is no hardware wallet I would recommend more. Visit foundationdevices.com and use bit by bit in the checkout to get $10 off your purchase. You'll also be getting 33% off the usual price. They have just dropped it. They've taken a third off. It's incredible value and just such a fucking amazing bit of hardware. If anyone has any questions, they can reach out to the team or they can reach out to me personally. And last but not least is Fast Bitcoins. If you're looking to stack sats, Fast Bitcoins are an incredible company with an amazing team. I had Danny Brewster, the CEO, on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he really cares about his security. He's doing everything that he can for the privacy of his users within the rules and regulations that he has to abide by. He's pushing the boundaries as usual, and I'm really excited to be working with this team. Visit fastbitcoins.com to start stacking today. Enjoy the show.
Yeah, okay.
Are we all in?
I'm on mute. Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, I was trying to unmute myself. I muted you. Fat fingers.
Good morning, lads. How's it going, alright?
Yeah, wonderful.
You got your laptop, Matt?
I did. I finally got the beauty.
In fact, should we save it for when we're on it?
We are on there.
Oh, you stealth launched us.
Yeah. Especially this morning because I'm feeling a bit shitty. I wanted to catch you out because I got no coffee. Still a bit ill. I just thought I'll make these guys suffer a little bit. So there we are.
So, all right, we'll revert back to the original conversation. Max, you got your laptop?
I have. I'm very, very happy boy. It arrived yesterday. It did arrive with a broken seal, so I am in discussions with them. I've emailed them to sort of see what the thoughts are, but it looks really, really lovely. beautifully built and all the packaging in there is so nice. I'm very excited, but I'm not actually going to set it up for a while because I really want to wait until I have a desk and proper internet connection and somewhere that I can sit quietly without being surrounded by shit so that I can think through it and like not make any mistakes from the beginning. So yeah, it's something I'm waiting with, but I know you've got yours, so you can maybe have a bit more information on the Starbook than I can, because all I've done is held it.
And caressed it.
Caressed it. I kissed it.
Yeah, quick bit of background for anybody who wasn't listening to last month's. Shame on you if you weren't. Max and I ordered a laptop, a Linux first laptop called Starbook from a company called Starlabs. I placed my order in April this year, I think. And it turned up last week. Max ordered a little bit later, but has been waiting for it just as long a time almost. So there's been quite a bit of anticipation for these bits of kit to turn up, and I must say it absolutely doesn't disappoint. I've had it for about half a week now. First job was to install Pop! OS, which went an absolute dream. The hardware itself feels really premium, just really nice touches as well. Like did you notice the charge cable, Max? Like it's kind of like a braided material.
Yeah, that's really nice. I wasn't so sure about the blue though. I was like, I quite like it to be all black, but yeah, that's a nice touch.
Yeah, big fan of the trackpad. The keypad's great. Screen looks great. Compared to my old piece of shit laptop, which admittedly was very, very old, this feels like a just completely new experience. It's lightning quick, and I tried a bit of video editing yesterday with it, and it just completely took everything in its stride. So really, really happy with it, and so far happy to recommend it to anybody that's interested in buying a Linux first laptop, which admittedly you don't need to do. You don't need to splash out £1,000 to run Linux. You can put it on pretty much any piece of hardware, but if you kind of want to increase your LARPing points a little bit, then it's a really great option. And I'm very, very happy with it. One thing I will share, actually, I was talking to Katan last night, who was the impetus for this whole Starlabs movement, I guess. He was the first one to do it, and I copied him. He initially had some issues when he booted it up and tried to put Pop! OS on it. He was having, when he locked the device, and so you can, as if you were going to do Control-Alt-Delete on Windows back in the day, just to lock the device if you're going to walk away from it. When he was doing that, he was getting like a screen flicker, and then the laptop would lock up. So consequently, he wasn't very happy. So he had a couple of hours worth of panic when he was trying to fix it. He went onto the Starlabs GitHub page, and somebody had already raised it, and they were literally all over it within a matter of hours. Come out with a fix straight away, which has cured his issue. He's now happily running Pop! OS. So admittedly not a great start, but this is Linux, and Linux does come with its challenges sometimes. But since they've implemented that fix, it's been flawless for him, and so I guess it's another tick in the box for the customer service as well. We were slating the communication last month when we were through lack of updates, throughout the whole time we were waiting for delivery. But since it's been delivered, it looks like the customer service seems pretty attentive. So yeah, really happy and looking forward to continuing to use it, and hopefully it lasts me a long time.
Definitely. Maybe as well because they had their issues with getting the batteries and all that sort of stuff. I'm hoping that people get their orders quicker next time, because I've had a few people reach out to me, and until yesterday I was like, look, just wait, let me see if I actually receive this thing, and then I'll tell you, because it has been a long time. But I might reach out to them and actually say, like, if someone was to order now, when do you think they could actually get one of these things? Because yeah, you don't want someone ordering it, needing it, and then waiting 6 months. So it might be worth finding that out first.
Catan, until last week, Catan was convinced that we'd go on, Antimus.
Sorry. No, they are like offering pre-orders at the moment again for a next batch, or is it just like an ongoing offering now? Or what's the situation?
Do you know what? I'm not actually sure. Since I got the device, I haven't been back on the website. So my guess is because they're not, they're pretty much a small UK company. I'd imagine they're not sort of mass producing these. So it probably makes sense that they do them in sort of batches where they'll take, X amount of orders and then create them. So, but yeah, I'll have to check up on that one. I'm not 100% sure. I think we've got a big delay on Antimus's side, or either that or he's gone completely.
Yeah, no, I think we've got a delay.
Yeah, I think so too.
He's gone.
I'm hearing you good, but I think it's delayed. Definitely feels weird. I'm just moved into a new place here, and we don't have any a fixed internet connection. So I'm on my phone on mobile. That's probably the issue. Fuck.
That's all right. Well, any news your end, Antimus?
Yeah, well, it's probably best to get that out of the way at the beginning. We're speaking about Compass last month. So anyone who missed that, probably best to go back 1 month, so we don't have to recap everything here again. But yeah, there have been a few developments since. So last status was that we'd be online by the 30th of November. Today, day of recording is the 2nd of December. Since then, we've been delayed a few times again. On the 20th of November, we got an email saying that we'd get an additional $500 per machine. And now on the 29th, I think it was, one day before their own deadline, they sent out a new email saying that they would set out a new deadline, which would be the 31st of March. So a decent buffer of 4 months. Saying, but also that everyone who is affected by this next delay, again, will receive 12 months of free hosting as from the time that they go live. Yeah, so what are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, not good. Not good.
Are you in exactly the same boat here, Max?
Yeah. So, without recapping everything that we went through last time, just talking about just literally what's happening now, I'm in the same boat. So I'd had exactly the same experience of being pushed back twice since our last call, and then being told, again, definitely on the 30th of November, you'll be online. That's the absolute latest date. And then obviously the 30th came and went. And then I heard a few rumblings from a few people in the space who had said, look, you're probably going to receive an email basically saying, yeah, it's going to be delayed again. But I didn't actually know how long for. And then, I finally got the email. I never got that $500 email because Antimus reached out to me and was like, oh yeah, you're going to get $500 extra and they're going to come online soon, but they're doing something. And I was like, do you know what? At least they're doing something. We get it online this month finally, and they're doing something. And as pissed off as I've been, at least they're sort of taking some responsibility, and it's some type of apology. So 500 does absolutely nothing really in terms of how many sats we've lost, but it's something. And then obviously you get the final slap in the face, which is, well, actually, we're going to delay you potentially another 4 months. And seeing as they've already broken their promises and deadlines constantly, 6, 7 times or whatever it's been, definitely it's going to be this, definitely it's going to be that. So, I mean, I don't even hold out hopes that it would be in March, to be honest. So, I don't feel good about it. I would very comfortably say to anyone listening, don't ever go near that company. I think anyone who's in charge, Wick Gibbs and all these guys, seriously, fuck you. Absolutely pathetic. It really is just disgusting the way that people have been treated at this point. And equally, I'm an idiot because I went for self-hosting and it's not my hosting, it's not my hash. And fool me once. That's it. I won't be doing it again ever. It's just lost me so much money. Yeah, that's it really. I don't know what else to say.
Not good. Not the update I was hoping to hear
that you want.
I think. do you know what though? This whole situation has shone at even more of a positive light on offerings like what Upstream Data have come up with the
yes.
the black mining box. So for those that haven't seen this on Twitter, it's essentially a black box that you can buy from a company that I think you can either, correct me if I'm wrong, you can either buy just the box or you can buy it filled with miners as well. It comes with its own sound deadening inside and insulation and heat management. So essentially, you buy this box and it turns up at your house and you plug it into some power and you're essentially away mining. So the benefits are, number one, you've got control of the miners. Number two, the noise is managed to a level where it, from what I've seen on Twitter, is, manageable, so that it's, you might not get a divorce if you've got this one. And it's also weatherproof as well. So some of the videos this box has been outside in the snow. So if you could run it outside, then, as well as the noise management from the box itself and all the insulation, it's just not in your house. So you're not going to hear it unless you're right next to it. So it cures two of the big home mining issues, be it heat and noise, in quite a novel way, but also makes it really easy to host your own hash at the end of the day. The one thing that obviously the box and that offering can't fix is the electricity prices, but it gets you a damn sight nearer than having to completely roll your own mining setup, a la Diverter or Econo Alchemist. Anybody there?
Yeah.
I just have myself on mute. I was just waffling on with myself on mute. I keep doing it because I've got the dog here and he's being an absolute pain in the arse and charging around. I didn't want all the noises because I spent so long editing him out of the last one.
I thought it was a great addition.
I loved it.
It fucking wasn't.
So have you seen this the box from Upstream Data?
Yes, I've seen it. It's actually brilliant. I really like the design because it's so simple. I mean, obviously they're offering to actually buy it from them, but at the end of the day, everyone can build one themselves. That's just such a simple but effective design. Really liked it. And speaking of Econo Alchemist, they came out, I think it was this morning or yesterday, that if you get one of those boxes, you can have a chat with Econo Alchemist as support lead there to help you set it up and any questions you have there. So I think that's a great combo they've gone for there.
100%. If anybody's deserving of a job in the space, it's him. I don't know if anybody's sort of followed his story and see where he's at in his sort of personal life. Absolutely well deserved, and I'm sure he'll be a fantastic addition to their team. And I think there's going to be big things to come from them. We've seen from the plug and play node space that there is a market for simple setup of this sort of stuff. So it seems only natural that having a somewhat larger box that you can just plug in at home and start mining some KYC-free sats is a bit of a no-brainer, really. So I'm looking forward to see how that grows.
Yeah, definitely. And also, we keep talking about cost of electricity and all of this sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, if you believe the value of Bitcoin will continue to increase and the amount of users on the network will continue to increase, then it doesn't really matter, especially with these newer machines. You can still be profitable and you have the added value of them being KYC free. Like, it's an amazing way to acquire them. And you're constantly dollar cost averaging effectively, except it's sats, there's no dollars involved since, from the point you buy the hardware. Even though, yes, you can go and get 5 cents a kilowatt hour or 6 cents a kilowatt hour, in theory, you can see what's happened to me in Antimus, and we have been absolutely raped on this. And so what seems like a good deal, actually, we would have been better off paying UK or German or basically any sort of energy costs. We would be better off than we are now. So I just don't think it's worth it. I think that the home mining is brilliant, and you just have to eat the fact that you have a bit of costs. Or if you have a business and you can write off some of those costs against the business, or if you can get some sort of deal with someone who's overproducing solar or wind and you can get your miners there. I think it's just time for people to get innovative and think around these solutions rather than just going with, I'll find someone to host who can't be trusted.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's only a good thing that across the whole Bitcoin space, and I've just put a tweet out about this really, but especially in mining, the barrier to entry is getting lower and lower, and that's true of wallets and nodes and everything like that. So really great to see, and really appreciative of all the people out there that are plugging away and working on this sort of stuff, pushing us all forward. So it's great, really great to see.
Wonderful.
Yeah, definitely.
So should we
Antimus,
jump in?
do you want to?
Oh.
Because we've got such a big delay.
Fuck, man.
Why don't we jump into the list? And Antimus, if you, as usual, if you read through, which way does the delay go? You hear us 20 seconds after we speak, but will we hear you when you're speaking? How does that work?
So I probably have to just
So that because otherwise we're going to just crosstalk.
Did that work?
Okay. All right.
I think the delay is from mine and your voices, Max, to get to Antimus's ears, basically.
Fine, but not the other way around.
It wouldn't appear so, no.
Okay, all right. So that means, Antimus, if you start going through the list.
Let's do this. Okay. So Blockstream brought out two releases, once for Blockstream Green v3.7.6 and once for Blockstream Green Desktop v1.0.4. Both pretty significant there. The first for Blockstream Green is that you can actually now hook up to your own personal Electrum server, which is obviously a massive deal for privacy. And Blockstream Green Desktop now also enabled Betch32M addresses, so taproot addresses, and manual coin selection for single sig.
Yes, so the mobile app update here is, I believe, is just Android only, but the significance of which shouldn't be understated. Previously, if you wanted to connect Blockstream Green to your own node, it did so, I think, using directly to Bitcoin Core through the RPC interface, which in my personal experience was fucking hopeless, and it just never worked. And when I did manage to get a successful connection, it was, trying to receive transaction was somewhat taxing. So the ability to connect to your own Electrum server now is, I haven't tested it, but is going to speed things up massively, I would imagine, and is very much more in line with the rest of the mobile wallets in the space. So good to see that they've kind of followed suit, I guess.
Then we've got Blue Wallet v6.2.13, UI and bug fixes, minor updates there. Breeze 0.12.fix pack. There were some issues they had there with crashing software, and they've also now included QR support for Lightning addresses, which is cool. We've seen that from multiple Lightning wallets over the last 2 months. BTC Pay Server v1.3.6, bug fixes, just ironing out something there. C-Lightning v0.10.2. They had issues there that when you were trying to repay an invoice, there was it would invalidate the old try, but they've fixed that now. So now they've had that you can have multiple payments there for one invoice, and whatever goes through first is valid.
Yeah, just on C-Lightning, just want to come in there because I've been threatening that I was going to try it out for a long, long time, and I finally got round to it last week to test out Bolt 12 offers, and I just massively impressed with it. Did so on my Raspberry Blitz, which made it really easy. And Bolt 12 offers for anybody interested are it's one of the features. There's quite a few, but one of the early features that are live right now is that. As with any Lightning node, once you've set it up and you've got a channel open, you can generate a static QR code, which is essentially an invoice. It doesn't need to be, it's reusable, and it doesn't need to have a payment request coded into it. So it's essentially like a blank check that you can copy and paste to wherever you want, be that your Twitter account or Telegram. Just host it as an image on your website, or get a tattoo of it, anything you want. And anybody, we're currently with C-Lightning, and hopefully this gets widely adopted, but anybody that has a compatible wallet can scan that and can pay you any amount, and they can use that repeatedly for different amounts or the same amount. So it's really quite functional when you compare it to the current Lightning ecosystem of you need to serve somebody an invoice every time that you want them to pay you, which means that you need to be online and active, and you need some form of server, analogous to BTC Pay server, for example. If you want to take Lightning donations, you still need that server there to be able to serve those a new fresh invoice every time. There's been some work done on LN URL, which kind of enables a reusable invoice, but you still need that web server to be able to serve it. So the barrier to entry is still fairly high, whereas the Bolt 12 offer I've just been talking about is, like I say, it's just a QR code that you can take a screenshot of and share with whoever, wherever, and all of the communication is done through the Lightning Network. So you don't need a HTTP server or BTC Pay server or anything like that. So it's only available through C-Lightning at the moment, which obviously limits the functionality somewhat to anybody who's running C-Lightning.
Not many people are they?
No. Well, every single node implementation, so Raspberry Blitz, Umbrel, Start9, anything like that, they all run LND. The only one that offers both is Raspberry Blitz, where you can run LND and C-Lightning. So if you wanted to try this out, you need a Raspberry Blitz, or you need to be able to get in a command line and sort your own C-Lightning out, which obviously is not for everybody. Mm-hmm. There's rumour, I posted a tweet about it, hoping that it gets some eyes on it, people to test it, raise the profile of it. And there's rumours of the guys at Async who run the Eclair.
I saw that.
Who run the Eclair implementation of Lightning. They're working on it. So my understanding of Lightning is that if two of the big three Lightning implementations, so you've got LND from Lightning Labs, you've got C-Lightning from Blockstream, and Eclair from Async. If two out of the three of them implement something, it becomes the agreed standard. So it looks like we're heading towards that way. But from what I've been hearing, there's some pushback from the guys at Lightning Labs who run LND, because they've got sort of a competing way to sort of approach this. So it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out. But if you've got a Raspberry Blitz, give it a try. I'm almost certain you can run LND and C-Lightning concurrently. So if you've got channels open on LND already, you don't need to close all them just to test this out. You can run them side by side.
That's really cool. It sounds amazing. The one bit that I can't work out is how can it be that you don't need a BTC Pay server and you can just have one QR code? Like, who's doing what in the background to give you these new invoice addresses or whatever needs to be done? Like, how is this achieved with you being offline?
So your node needs to be online because it's a Lightning node.
Right.
That's just the very nature of it. But so if you had one of these Bolt 12 offers, you just sent me a picture of it, I scanned it with a compatible wallet, and then decided how much I wanted to pay you. My node communicates to your node only through the Lightning network. We do that negotiation through the existing network, and it's all done at that level. Whereas the current system with, say, for example, BTC Pay server and LND is you've got a Lightning node, but on top of that, you've got BTC Pay server, which is essentially like a website, a public-facing website. Those two are talking. So you go I'd go onto your BTC Pay server, say, right, I want to send Max 5,000 sats. That would then communicate with your node and say, somebody wants to pay you 5,000 sats. Can I have an invoice for that? That your node would pass that back up to BTC Pay server. BTC Pay server would then serve that to me on my computer screen. I could then scan that and pay it. So you're just removing that extra requirement for the web server, if you like, because everything runs through the Lightning network.
If you're paying me and your node is talking to my node directly, Does that mean that there's any privacy issues there? Are we giving information that could dox our IP to each other, or like how much of an issue could that be? Because obviously it's fine if it's just you and me, or me, you, Antimus, whoever sending. But let's say, for example, you put on your website, you put on here next to the Bitcoiner.guide one of these little QR codes, and someone reads this and goes, oh, do you know what? This is actually really useful, and I appreciate that you've done this. I want to send you a few sats. And they scan that and send that. Their node talks to your node. Is there any danger there of doxing yourself?
Yeah, so the current implementation, the communication is done through onion messages, like it
Fine.
currently is across the whole of the Lightning Network anyway. So the communication side is fine. It doesn't initially fix the receiver level privacy. So you still, anybody could scan that QR code and work out what my node public ID is, and from that they could do some advanced analysis to try and work out the size of my channels and things like that. Offers doesn't change that initially. There are further proposals as part of the Bolt 12 implementation, which do things like, and this is kind of getting a little bit over my head now, but do things like, so let's say you scan my Bolt 12 offer, rather than it having the final destination, it'll sort of say, you can pay me by paying this node, which will be like another node halfway along the route from you to me. So you don't learn where the final destination is, but within that route, that node that I've sort of nominated knows that payment needs to go to me. So,
right. Okay.
So that's at very, very high level, and I've probably butchered it a little bit, but I know that is one of the proposals. So you can kind of cut the ties from, I know I'm paying Max, but I don't know where his node is. I'm just sort of he's told me where to send it in his rough direction, and then the network takes care of it from thereafter.
That sounds pretty cool. Because that is a concern with me with the Lightning Network, and it's probably because I don't understand it well enough. But I do think, like, well, if someone can de-anonymize and they can work out what channels you have with who and what size, and they have information on those channels, I don't think it would be necessarily impossible for them to work out who you are. And then I'd wonder, well, is there a way for them to also find your IP and find out where you are? And then it's like, it seems that would not be a great thing for somebody who's getting tips to put that information on there, because it could fully dox you. How difficult do you think this is in reality? Is this like me being overly paranoid, or is that actually a real concern? Like, would you be concerned putting one on yours if you were running your node that you're receiving the sats on at your home, for example? Would that be a concern for you?
No, I'm doing exactly that. The QR code that I've shared when I was testing it is on my Raspberry Blitz, which is sat next to me. It's all of the Lightning nodes default to using the Tor network anyway. So the IP address isn't an issue unless you specifically go into the settings and make it a public-facing IP. So that side of things for me isn't a concern. Like I say, the receiver privacy on the Lightning network is an issue at the moment. It takes an active, sophisticated attacker to try and glean this information about you, your channels, your public ID. Well, your public ID is public anyway, but it does take more of an advanced attack. But I think, like I say, there's plans afoot that somewhat tackle this a little bit. But we have seen quite a few different studies that have been done on Lightning Network privacy that show that it is possible. Even if you've got private channels or unannounced channels, as they're now being termed, because it turns out they're not actually that private. That you can. There's holes in this system, let's say, but there are plans afoot to look at trying and tackle it.
Cool.
Okay. Then we've got Electros v0.9.3. They've got a whole bunch of improvements there. Fully noded v0.2.30. They've also enabled Taproot support for single sig, and a few bug fixes. Hexa Wallet v2.0.5. They've got now a gift sats feature. I'm not quite sure how that works, but something there for UI that might be a bit of an attraction. Immortan v0.5.7, they've now implemented coin control, which is a big one, hugely important there. Join Market v0.9.4, required bug fixes for makers. I'm not quite sure what the issue was there, but that's been fixed.
Just going to jump in with the Join Market thing. I'm not sure on the bug fix, but you both heard about the bounty for the web GUI, right? For Join Market. Well, I think I've seen the first iteration of it this morning. I'm just gonna. It looks very, very basic and rudimentary at the moment, but it looks like somebody's finally come up with the goods. Did you hear about the bounty, by the way?
Yeah.
So I think it was instigated by Matt Odell and a few others to try and, the often repeated criticism of Join Market is that it's really not easy to use. So I think a couple of people have clubbed together and said, look, why don't we put a bounty on the fact that we want a graphical user interface to make it more approachable so that more people are going to use it. So that's been running for I want to say at least 6 months now, and it looks like we finally got the first iteration of it. As I say, very, very simple. I've just dropped the link in the chat if you want to have a look, guys. Very, very simple, but good to see that it's progressing, and hopefully, if this is the first iteration, that it'll continue to improve and give us another option for those that want to try a different CoinJoin implementation as well.
Nice. I really need to actually get my arse in gear and have a play with this. It's been too long.
We say this every month, don't we?
Yeah. Well, I have had a play. But it's just, I haven't actually done it with my own sats. It was, I didn't have any sats on the line. I was just playing around with it, but it did seem cool. Yeah,
going through command line, that was like the user interface they have at the moment. It's pretty daunting. So if you don't have anyone like who knows their way around it, like holding your hand, actually putting your own sats on the line, pretty. I haven't pulled the trigger on that yet. I've played around with it a bit to just look through the options and so on, how it's built up. But having like a proper user interface and like integrated to a node package or something, that'd be absolutely amazing. We've now got LND v0.14.1 beta RC1. They've now got a hybrid Tor connectivity mode. I'm not quite sure how that works. I don't know, Q&A, if you've got more details on that.
Not on the Tor connection, but the release before the one you just mentioned actually completely balked the connection between LND and the other Lightning implementations. Existing connections were fine, but if you wanted to set up a new channel to, say, an Eclair node or a C-Lightning node, the update they released just made that was not possible. So it kind of fractured the network a little bit, which is a little bit scary, given that you'd like to think that Lightning Labs is growing to be a fairly big team now. So how something big like that has slipped through the quality assurance net, I'm not sure. But as the note alludes to, the bug fix to restore cross implementation compatibility is now live. So as long as you're not running, I think the bad release was 14.1. So just run anything newer than 14.1. So obviously we're talking about the beta here. That fixes that cross-compatibility issue. So just want to make a PSA for anybody just to check which version of LND that you're running.
Okay. We've now also got MyNode v0.2.47. They've been nice and diligent with all their software updates of all their packaged apps. That's been good. Nix Bitcoin v0.0.59. They've got added RTL, Ride the Lightning to their package, which is nice. Passport v1.0.8 beta. they've had auto delete PSBT files after signing, which is obviously a good feature there to not have anything stored on there. But I guess Q&A, you'll have something to add to that.
Yeah, well, pretty much a bit more of a maintenance release, really. There's predominantly just a couple of minor bug fixes. As you say, we've added the functionality so that we automatically delete the PSBT after it's signed, so you don't end up with loads of stale signed PSBT files on your microSD card that you have to delete manually. So we've just released that as a beta firmware, so anybody that wants to test it, feel free. But yeah, like I say, minor release. So the next release 1.9 should be a bit more juicy, shall we say.
Looking forward to that. Rust Lightning v 0.0.103, API updates and bug fixes, just minor there. And now the big one, that was great to see, SeedSigner v 0.4.5 was released. They have optimized workflows, custom derivation paths, new fonts and screensaver, and also just playing around with that over the last week or so was really cool to see. It's gotten a lot easier, and especially the absolutely underrated new feature is being able to set the brightness of the display. So that you can actually, you can transmit the QR code in pretty much any lighting, exactly, in any lighting situation. So that's a big one.
It's such a cool project. I love seeing, like, all the time I'll always see like people with new cases and tinkering with new things and updating stuff, and like the community around it is excited to be pushing it forward. Definitely for me, it's one of the coolest projects out there.
Yeah, SeedSigner for me is absolutely the sort of the perfect shining example of what free and open source tools can do. You know, this started out as one guy who, by his own admittance, isn't really a technical. He's not strictly speaking a programmer. Yeah, so he had some time on his hands, and he thought he had an idea. He came up with a very rudimentary tool, and then from there he's gained a little bit of public exposure. People have rallied around him, they've donated to him. You know, there's loads of different contributors there now that are helping from a UI perspective. There's people that have come up with their own 3D printed cases. There's people that are offering improvements. And that is, for me, is just such a great shining example of the beauty of the free and open source space. That look at what the tool can do now, even compared to like when it first came out less than a year ago.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And what it enables people to do for like $50. Yes, don't get me wrong. It's not as easy as buying your own hardware wallet, but as a shining example of FOSS is fantastic.
And the fact that you can build one of these under the radar is a massive plus for me, especially in countries where you really need to be under the radar. You really do not want to have a hardware wallet sent to an address that could be linked to you. Not that you particularly want that anywhere, but sometimes it really is life or death. And so to be able to buy off-the-shelf parts and to build this, and potentially, even if someone was to raid, it would be very difficult to know how the fuck to use it and what it is. So I think it not only is an amazing project for the reasons we've just mentioned, but also for the safety of the users. I think that's massive.
Yeah, completely agree.
Yeah, co-sign that 100%. It's also just so great to see like the development of that project, that so much is also out in the open. Like you can actually follow on discussions of different improvements and see like screenshots of stuff being developed and for future releases. And it's just so much more engaging than a lot of other projects that you then just get the release at some point and see what they've been working on. And you really get a feel for the community on Twitter, which is really cool. Love it. Okay. Then we've got Simple Bitcoin Wallet v 2.2.17, bug fixes and UI improvements. Spectre Desktop v1.7.2. They've improved the rescan ability, a few new wallets, encrypted user data storage, which has been asked for a long time. That's good to see. Then Sphinx Relay v2.2.3 bug fixes. Start9 Embassy OS v0.2.17 SSL cert bug fixes. That was a good episode on TFTC with the founder of Start9 going through their new release for v0.3 coming up. That's definitely a good listen. ThunderHub v0.12.31 bug fixes. TreasurSuite v21.11.2 new search features and design enhancements. Umbrel v0.4.9 2FA security.
Should we just jump in? I think we're going to have to
Please.
pause there and sort this connection out.
Yeah, it is disgusting.
Shit, man.
It will record locally, so some of what you've said, because it's recorded locally, will hopefully come through because it's on your side. But yeah, it is horrible. I don't know what is happening with it.
Okay. Well, we basically made it through nearly. So I don't know if you can actually.
Yeah, we're basically
cool.
through it, aren't we? Not really. I can now. I couldn't at the time. I think I heard you as far as Start9, and then I didn't hear anything after that.
Okay. So that was it for the updates.
We got through it eventually with some connection issues. There's one that's not on the list because it only came out last night. And it hasn't had an official release yet, but I've just checked and it is on a public-facing website. So I'm not I'm not breaking ground and stealing anybody's thunder here. But Sparrow Wallet has released their beta version of one. I don't know what version it is. Anyway, their next release for testing, and Craig Raw, being the beast that he is, has implemented Cahoots transactions using paynims. So that means that you can now, as well as use Whirlpool, which he implemented a couple of versions ago, you can now make spends after you've mixed or before you've mixed with any other Sparrow Wallet user or Samurai Wallet user. The two are absolutely interoperable. So let's say that you've done a couple of mixes and then you want to spend to cold storage, or you want to spend to a merchant, and rather than doing that using the Stonewall feature that's built in, you can use the Stonewall X2 feature that's now built in, so that let's say I'm paying Antimus, I could get in touch with Max out of band and say, Max, I'm going to pay Antimus now, but I want to do it with the CoinJoin. Max will go, yeah, cool, that's fine. I'll just fire up my Samurai wallet or my Sparrow wallet. It doesn't really matter which. And then that will enable me to mix some of my UTXOs with some of Max's UTXOs when we are paying to Antimus. All automated. After you've sort of paired the paynim, it's a couple of clicks and it'll just say, right, go and tell Max to set his Samurai wallet or his Sparrow wallet to listen mode. And then as soon as Max accepts, it's all done automated over the Tor network, nice and private, so that you can make a two-person coin join. That feature is also implemented for Stowaway as well. So that's, again, if I was to pay, I was paying directly to Antimus. If he was a Sparrow wallet or Samurai wallet user and had a paynim, I could pay him. And he could be sort of quote unquote in cahoots with me at the same time, so that we could make that spend a coin join. Antimus is still getting paid, but the amount
Q&A,
that I'm paying Antimus is not visible on the blockchain due to the nature of the way the transaction is constructed. Again, all automated.
This is going
there's
well.
no extra fees for it. It's just minor fees. So
the morning
absolutely
sessions,
huge in terms of, you can now do two-person coin joins automated with anybody else, somebody on the other side of the planet, as long as they've either got an Android phone or they have a laptop that's got a Sparrow wallet on it.
There we go. It's back again.
He's back.
Sorry, it's my turn now. How far did you get? What do I need to recap?
You're just talking about Stowaway. So the example, if you want to pay me directly with Stowaway and then you carve.
Yeah, so I could pay Antimus. We could create that spend to be a coin join. Again, all automated over the Tor network, and the amount that I was paying Antimus would not be visible due to the way the transaction is constructed. So a really, really powerful new update because it essentially opens up these tools to anybody with a laptop that wants to run Sparrow, basically. So
Yeah.
pretty huge. I've tested it myself on testnet last night, and it works so fucking well. It's so slick. So when this gets released, officially, it's going to be a big one, and the excuses for not making every spender coin join are fast running out. So really, really great to see it. And once again, absolutely in awe of Craig Rowe and the pace at which he cranks this stuff out. Antimus, did you have a question on it?
But you still have to initiate it with the other partner with each spend. So you can't like set this up that like if the two of us wanted to spend to max, then we could set up like a kind of like a connection or a channel basically between the two of us that one of us could initiate this on their own. Just setting it up at the beginning. It has to be each time you want to spend, both have to be available and have to initiate it, right?
That's right. Yeah. So let's say I'm the one that's doing the spend to max. I would create the spend in my Sparrow wallet. I would then choose you're paying him from my contact list. I'd then message you on Telegram or Threema and say, I'm just about to do a spend to max to pay him back for something I owe him for. Can you help me out with the Stonewall X2? You say, yeah, sure. You hop onto your Sparrow wallet or your Samurai wallet and you just put your wallet in sort of listen mode. So which is literally a couple of clicks. It takes seconds to do. And then the spend is coordinated automatically from then on.
Cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's going to mix things up quite a lot.
Just waiting for,
Right,
for the
boys.
bomb
Is there
to
anything
hit.
else that we
You're like,
haven't covered?
shoot out here.
Is there anything else we haven't covered on here? Any bits we want to go through? Because this is making it rather difficult, and I'm just thinking my editing is going to be an all-dayer otherwise.
Yeah, there's just two education pieces or articles that I wanted to shine a light on. Number one, there's a lady called Elle Moulton. I don't know how I'm probably butchered that name. It's a bit of a technical read, but I found it really valuable. She's done a deep dive on compact block filters, which are a method of how you can use a light client in a sort of privacy preserving way. Like I say, very, very technical. It's a very technical read, but worthwhile if you're somebody that's sort of happy to sort of get into the weeds a little bit. I found that a really good read. And the other one is there's a user that goes by the name of JPPH has done a quick guide on how you can verify the dice rolls when you're generating your seed via dice rolls using SeedSigner. So that's a good one as well.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for today. Let's hope that next time we have slightly better connection, but it's always lovely speaking to you both. And I'm very excited about these updates in Sparrow. I can't wait to get that on the laptop when I finally unbox it and start using it. Only a few months to wait now.
Yep. Thanks for having us again, Max. And I'll speak to you all next time.
Cheers. Thanks a lot, man.